No, congrats on our hero Balthazar. I really enjoyed the film. You play a life coach. That subject matter is really interesting to me. I'm sure there are some that are helpful, but there's definitely people that try to take advantage of those looking for help. What was your approach to finding that character and your into the film?
Oh man, thank you. Cool question. I love the beard, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. He's definitely the latter. He's a life coach that is really only interested in himself. He's super self-involved. Um, yeah, I think he preys on lonely people and people that that really need others. And I think for for me, I just talked with Oscar Boyson, our director, a lot, and Ricky, his writing partner. Um, I let them really lead me on that. It's cool showing up and kind of day playing on a film that really is Jaden Martell's and Asa Butterfield's. And Jaden, my scenes are with him. He led the charge, man. He was so God, he was so like chaotic, but he was also like almost like an iceberg. There was so much happening that you couldn't really gauge. He was like a wounded animal, and then he would just lash out of nowhere. And so for me, with Anthony, it was really just kind of solidifying. Yeah, he's a life coach that's extraordinarily selfish and preying on the like, rich people, and he needs Balthazar. Way more than Balthazar needs him. And coming at it from that kind of perspective, I just I just let Jaden kind of throw his fuel on the fire, and I just responded accordingly.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Jaden because he's such a great talent and he's shown such a range. Like this performance is really intense, and I like that you mentioned how unpredictable he can be. He's kind of bursting at the seams in this film. What kind of just stood out about him as a scene partner to you?
I mean, just that, and it's playing that chaos, having it kind of behind a thin veil, one, and then two, the commitment, the ability to. He has this really admirable ability to give himself to his emotions and his feelings. That was kind of redundant, but his feelings and the fire that comes from them in a way that he just lets it out. He's like a volcano. It's very eruptive, and that's what I think. I admire the most about him is that he's not afraid, or rather, he's brave enough uh, to go there, and to allow himself to feel, um, the extremes.
You're in a really cool career spot right now. You're getting these big dream movie roles like Ken Masters, and you're playing Rambo, which is insane. But you're
Yeah.
also an executive producer on really thought-provoking films like this and Union County. Can you speak to finding that balance? Because it's really interesting that you have these blockbusters, but you're also producing these really thoughtful films.
One feeds the other. Um, you know, um, I started acting when I was 8. I've always wanted to act. It's always been something that I loved. Um, uh, I was very fortunate to have the success that I've had. I still am fortunate to have it, but pretty young, you know. Working on a show when I was 18 and having, a contract that went longer than a week, like I was locked in for seasons of a show. And so that success early on, I got what I really like always like had ever envisioned myself to have. And so that kind of made me think like, okay, what else is out there other than, achieving, these aspirations that I set for myself when I was a kid. I started when I was really young. Um, and I found that in many different things, but producing over the last 4 years, um, that to me is extraordinarily fulfilling because with the blessing and the good fortune that I've had to be in films that um y I'm gonna pause that thought, go to this thought, and come back to that thought. You know, the thing about indie filmmaking is you're not really trying to raise anywhere near as much money as like mid-tier filmmaking or even, you know, obviously spectacle films. You're trying to raise a comparatively small amount of money. And if you're an actor that, you know, has had success, when you join a film like that, you can help get financing for it. And there are so many young up and coming filmmakers or just up and coming filmmakers that just need someone to come in and help get funding for their projects, because their voices matter. Their voices are sharp, electric, different, um, and they're saying something that I think is worth listening to. And so then going back to, you know, being fortunate and having that was the bridge I built essentially. I realized that I was in a position that I might be able to, you know, put a dent in independent filmmaking, um, and you know, be fulfilled by not just taking the roles that, you know, sure, you know, continue to allow me to be an actor and do really fun, incredible projects, but you know, on a large scale, but to be able to take that and funnel it back into art, and conversations and starting conversations and supporting people that are starting conversations that I deem, you know, worthy of listening to.